Welcome back to a special edition of Mediaweek.
We spoke earlier with Christina Miller from Turner Broadcasting. Christina, thanks so much for your time on Mediaweek. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here.
Can I get just first and foremost your views on disruption? It's obviously a key theme of the conference. And what I took from your address was that disruption really shows no age discrimination. Tell us about your work with plurals.
I think disruption is just the speed of change. Like, everybody talks about disruption right now, but that's just the pace of business currently. And I think that plurals are the next generation coming into media, and there's some marked differences between them and their much talked about generation before, the millennials. And it's about being a mobile native. It's about things like visual communication, choice and control of your media options, having a lot of it. They expect there to be content always on every platform, not just on any one screen at one time. They want to be able to sort through it, consume it, share it, evangelize it, and it's a great generation to be producing content for, and I think that what we're doing at Cartoon Network, it's really changed the way we think about the development process.
So do you see it as an opportunity or a threat?
Absolutely an opportunity. It's such a dynamic marketplace, and working with an audience that's developing their media habits as opposed to changing their media habits, which I think a lot of people spend time talking about, is, I think, the forefront. It's fun. It's a real opportunity to rethink, again, the way you produce your content. And being in animation, it gives us the opportunity to do short, long, social, all from the same source, rather than saying, okay, I'm just going to make a show and I'll come back to the other stuff later.
So you're based in Atlanta. Tell us about your role at the moment. What other portfolios do you work across?
So I work across Boomerang, Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim, and we're based in Atlanta, but we have an animation studio in Burbank for Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim operates out of Atlanta in a studio called William Street.
What would you say, I guess, the most important thing is in the changing media landscape to create compelling content? What would it be?
I think it's always stayed the same in the sense that it's really strong storytelling, right? Create worlds, not just shows, and your audience will become attached. And especially where kids are concerned, they'll really start to share it and evangelize it and become part of that content. So great storytelling, great characters, a lot of heart, a lot of humor. I don't think those ingredients change. I just think how you distribute it is what's changing.
Are you finding that you have to do more with less, I guess, particularly when it comes to the cost front?
You know, I think you have to do more, period. I don't know that it's always with less or with more. Like I was saying, the way we changed our development process for there to be more content from the source earlier, I think that that's important because all of the content is from the same vein. You know, and there's lots of demands as far as changing new things and experimenting, but I don't know that that necessarily always means it has to cost more. I think the risk is what there's more of.
Well, it's been a wild ride for a lot of media stocks, particularly on Wall Street, but a lot of executives that we've been speaking to see the emergence of new technologies as an opportunity, not a threat.
One of those was Bob Bakish from Viacom International Media Networks.
Bob, thank you for your time on Mediaweek.
Great to be here.
Just reflect on, I guess, the change that we've seen in the industry and the wild ride that you've seen over in the United States, particularly on Wall Street. We're seeing the likes of Netflix trade on around 250 times earnings. Just what have you seen over in the United States?
Look, it's not just the U.S. I run our businesses all around the world, ex-U.S. actually, and there's a lot going on in media, and we talked about it some today. You know, on the one hand, it's great to be here celebrating the 20th anniversary of subscription pay TV in Australia. And 20 years ago, certainly we were the disruptors. Now we've created a huge industry. 8,000 jobs in Australia, $1.9 billion in local industry turnover, in economic value, sorry, $800 million in local production. But at the same time, we are facing a fresh wave of disruption, right? And that's really brought about by the internet emerging as a mass media platform for video distribution. And we're seeing certainly changes in consumer behavior. We're seeing consumers who want to get access on demand to whatever content they're looking for, wherever they want it. We've done some research around that, seeing the average consumer who used to have one device in their house and get content from one source now having 6 devices in their house and getting 5 sources. By the way, at the same time, traditional linear television is proving very resilient. The vast majority of ratings still come from there. So it's not like that's disappearing, but we're in a more complicated landscape. And you know, the couple days in August where Wall Street, there was a lot of drama and $50 billion of market cap was sliced off the media industry as people started to get concerned that this great stable growth industry might be changing. You know, we at Viacom, we have a front row seat to this evolution. As I said, we run 180 or 200 linear networks in 180 countries and a range of on-demand properties. Great brands like MTV and Nickelodeon and Comedy Central and now Spike and the Paramount Channel. And so we do see the evolution of consumer behavior, but at the same time we see great opportunity. Look at, and we see it driven by a couple things. One is there is still significant growth in the middle class on a global basis, particularly in a lot of countries that are near Australia. You know, and there's probably going to be a couple 100 million new entertainment consumers coming into the market, if you will, over the next couple years, just by economic development. We also see great opportunity in quote-unquote mature markets, like here in Australia. You look at the numbers Foxtel posted recently, 9% subscriber growth, 230,000 new subs. I was talking to Richard earlier today. He said their August was like the best August they ever had. So proving that through product innovation, through technical innovation, through marketing innovation, you can drive growth in mature markets too. And even like a market like Spain, where there hasn't been a lot of pay TV growth, is a dramatic growth when Telefonica combined their mobile offering with their Movistar pay TV offering. So we see great growth potential because at the end of the day, consumers love great content. And that's another thing our research said. You know, 6 out of 10 consumers say TV's never been better. So it's an exciting time to be in the industry, even if there is a bit of drama.
Yeah, well, it was very timely, wasn't it, your message to people? I guess you were saying subscription TV is still really good value for what you offer the consumer.
It's great value. If you compare, like I said, it's basically equivalent. It varies market by market based on ARPUs and the like. But in Australia, for the same price of taking your family to the movie for one night, you can get 100 channels spanning, you know, kids programming, music programming, dramas, films, factual, you name it. A huge on-demand offering, which, by the way, if you compare Foxtel's on-demand offering to Netflix's, for example, you'll see that Foxtel's is far superior. Much more hours of content, much effectively higher quality content. So the traditional pay TV business continues to represent an incredible entertainment value. And by the way, that's why we're still growing. We're growing all around the world, and we're thrilled to be in this business.
I wanted to ask you as well, just how important is that user experience? You mentioned the comparison between Foxtel and Netflix. When it comes to sitting down, I guess, in front of a separate screen other than the television, what type of investments do you need to make as a large organisation in technology to really, I guess, make an impact when it comes to having a good user experience?
Look, as Hernan Lopez said in his remarks, and we totally agree, user experience matters. You know, our research also says if someone goes to try to watch a video on an app and it doesn't work well, they don't come back. So you have to have product that fundamentally works. That means quick load times. It means an intuitive interface. And our Viacom Playplex, which we announced yesterday, which we distribute in all our international markets and have an authenticated app for each of our brands. You know, performance was very important to us because we know that that's what consumer watch. Does it require investment? Yes, it requires investment. But you see the results, and that's why another of our messages, everyone needs to be focused on the consumer experience, and that's a combination of what content is available, so we have to provide depth of content, and we believe, and research supports, brands as beacon, you know, that all this choice, people look to a Nickelodeon, they look to a Comedy Central as having programming they like, so you got to have great content, you have to provide it in the form factor, if you will, they want. Still, linear delivery is the overwhelming majority of consumption, so that's very important. But there's people that want content different ways. And so if it's an app or a wired web application, whether it's an umbrella service, you know, that an intermediary might have, whether it's an OTT, SVOD provider, or it's a pay distributor, or it's a branded app that we would have, it's got to work well. And you know, that's really the key to success. We believe that consumers will want a range of experiences.
just give us a little detail on that new those smartphone apps, if you like. Will they stream your linear channels, or will it be more an on-demand service? Because we've seen a big announcement here recently with one of the free-to-air networks. They're going to stream all their channels for the first time ever in Australia, which seems to be a bit of a game changer.
So the Viacom Playplex, again, it's an app for each brand. So it's not one app that you get all the brands. There's an MTV one, a Nickelodeon one, etc. It's localized for the market you're in. So in this case, Australia. It provides access to the live linear stream for that brand in that market, and it also provides on-demand access to product. It's authenticated, so it's not free open internet kind of thing. It's authenticated to, in this case, a pay TV.
You need to be a subscriber.
You need to be a subscriber.
Whoever the provider is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's it's iOS and Android for phone and for tablet, and it'll be rolling out. Deliveries will start later this year, and we'll roll from there.
That's all we have time for on this episode of Media Week. Thanks for watching. See you next week.